start with some definitions because we are talking about structural violence. How would you define structural violence? Or how would you define violence? So, simple definition, we can say that violence is any action or inaction. Because sometimes we create violence because we don't do what we have to do. So any action or any inaction or structural arrangement that cause physical, psychological, or social trauma to one or more people, we call this violence. Any action, hit someone, you take something away from someone. Inactions, you have the responsibility to provide for people you don't provide. Or structural arrangement, the way that the setting of the society can prevent people to get access to the right. And this cause physical, psychological, social trauma. This is violence. So the violence can be behavioral violence, and we have interpersonal violence. It's happening when two people act outside of the rule prescribed by social institutions. The society, said prescribe how people should behave, how people should interact with each other. So when people decide to act outside of those limits, is behavioral interpersonal violence. So the violence can be institutional when the actions of social institutions or the representative. So, for example, when the police decide to act out of the limit of what is prescribed by the law, and they how people is the institution is violating people or making violence against people. So structural violence itself, it it is connected, related to arrangement, settings within the society. So structural violence refers to the avoidable limitations. I insist on that. Avoidable limitations that society places on groups of people that constrain them from meeting their basic needs and achieving the quality of life that would otherwise be possible. That without those limitations would be possible. That is structural violence. So look around you. Look in the setting in your community. What you see as limitations that the society places to group of people, to people that constrain them to meet their basic needs. It can be very simple, and we will see that over the course of that presentation. It can be very simple things, but sometimes we don't pay attention to, and that's why we said that sometimes we are part of the problem. We are feeding the problem. We talk about the tacit complicity with the aggression. So structural violence, we said that this is the avoidable limitations that the system put that prevents people to get access to their basic needs. But structural violence use acting arms, use what are the acting arms of structural violence? The most common one is oppression. Oppression, when dominant groups use their power and privilege to prevent the humanity to get access to their right, to constrain the humanity of oppressed group, and therefore maintain the existing inequalities between groups. So when we look at the politics, for example, the way it is said, people in power, they arrange the situation for themselves to always be in a position to be in power. For example, in my country, in Haiti, when you are a prime minister, regardless what you did good, you did wrong, you mess up with the people and they terminate you, but you have the right to protections, you continue to receive some advantage, you continue to receive that you shouldn't be entitled to, because you cause harm to people who should be punished for what they did, and they receive like credential. They receive they receive a gift for the harm that they cause to people. So this is operations. When the prime minister determined that prime minister we didn't do anything good for the people, and they use the money to continue to take care of that person. Why people can't send the kids to school? They can feed the kids. The hospital, they don't. The hospitals, they don't even have electricity. They don't even have power to continue to care for patients. So those are things that cause harm to people. So this is oppression. So the axis can be socio-economic, it can be political. We just take a political example. It can be legal, it can be cultural, it can be institutional. And we will, over the course of that presentation, we will go through those axes of structural violence. So if I like this from Henri David Thoreau in the Civil Disobedience book. He said, if form is nature, you feel that the law is making of you an instrument, a mean of injustice to your fellow, then I'm telling you, break the law. Don't obey the law. May your life be a counter friction against unjust law. And that's why people should do. Because if we take this example of the prime minister, why people have to obey that law? Because the person should be a servant, he didn't. And at the end of the term, that person receives support, security, from the government as a servant. It's unjust, and you shouldn't obey that law.